Welcome to a story about darkness, doubt, and the boy who refused to stop trying. There was a time when the world ended its day with the setting sun. When the sky turned dark, people lit candles, closed their books, and waited quietly for morning. Life moved slowly, guided by the rhythm of sunlight. But one boy, born in 1847 in a small American town, refused to accept the dark as the end of the day. His name was Thomas Alva Edison. Edison wasn't born a genius. In fact, by most standards, he was seen as a failure from the beginning. As a child, he didn't speak until he was 4. In school, he struggled to concentrate. His mind wandered, always filled with questions his teachers didn't have time to answer. One day, a teacher called him addled, meaning his brain was confused, slow, or broken. His mother, Nancy Edison, didn't agree. She pulled him out of school and said, "I will teach him myself." That moment changed everything. At home, Thomas was not treated like a slow boy. He was treated like a thinker. His mother gave him books and the freedom to wonder. She encouraged his curiosity and let him explore without fear of being wrong. It wasn't formal education. It was deeper than that. She didn't just teach him facts. She gave him belief. And belief is more powerful than knowledge. When you're just a boy the world has already given up on. By the age of 12, Thomas was selling newspapers on a train to help support his family. He had a small chemistry lab hidden in one of the boxcars. Whenever he had free time, he experimented with bottles and wires and tiny machines. One day, one of his experiments exploded, causing a fire. He was kicked off the train, lost his job, and the incident caused further damage to his hearing, a problem he would carry for the rest of his life. But he didn't complain. He adapted. Edison once said, "My deafness has been a blessing in disguise. It kept conversations short and gave me more time to work." That attitude, seeing hardship as opportunity, was the foundation of everything he would later become. In his early 20s, Edison became a telegraph operator. He worked long, quiet shifts, listening to signals and learning everything he could about electrical systems. At night, he read books and scribbled in notebooks. He started designing his own inventions. Simple things at first like improvements to the telegraph, but slowly, his ideas grew bigger. He moved to New York City and then New Jersey, where he opened a laboratory. It was there in Menlo Park that history began to take shape. But nothing came easy. Edison's work was full of failures. Hundreds of them. When he set out to create an electric light bulb that could last longer than a few minutes, the scientific world didn't cheer him on. Most people thought it was impossible. Some even laughed at him. But he kept testing. Each day, he tried a different material for the filament, the part inside the bulb that glows. He tried cotton, bamboo, even horsehair. One by one they all failed. He didn't see failure as a dead end. He saw it as data. "I have not failed," he famously said. "I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That kind of patience is rare. Most people give up after a few tries. Edison failed for years. But he still believed the light would come. One day, after thousands of experiments, it finally happened. The bulb stayed lit. 4 minutes. Then hours. It didn't burn out. It didn't explode. It glowed, warm, steady, and silent. The darkness had been broken. It wasn't just a light bulb. It was proof that trying again could change the world. But Edison didn't stop there. He went on to invent the phonograph, the first device to record and play sound. People were stunned when they heard a human voice captured by a machine for the first time. Later, he developed motion picture technology, storage batteries, and created systems for electricity to power cities. By the end of his life, Edison held more than 1,000 patents. More than any other American in history at that time. He wasn't just an inventor. He was a worker. He said, "Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration." That means success isn't about having perfect ideas. It's about doing the work. It's about staying up late, failing over and over, and waking up the next day to try again. Edison didn't work for praise. He didn't want awards or fame. In fact, when asked about his success, he once said, "Opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work." He believed that greatness wasn't in being gifted. It was in being relentless. Not everything in his life was perfect. He made mistakes. Some of his inventions failed. He lost money. People criticized him. In 1914, a fire destroyed much of his laboratory. Years of work went up in smoke. His son found him watching the flames. Instead of crying, Edison said, "Go get your mother and all her friends. They'll never see a fire like this again." The next morning, he was back at work. That's who he was. A man who kept moving forward, no matter what happened around him. A man who believed there was always something new to learn, always another solution to discover. His attitude was simple. Everything comes to those who hustle while they wait. When he died in 1931, the entire world dimmed its lights for 1 minute in his honor. Cities all over the United States and beyond turned off street lamps and power for 60 seconds of silence. In that moment of darkness, people remembered the man who brought them light. But his story doesn't belong only to history. It belongs to anyone who has failed. Anyone who has been told, "You're not smart enough." Anyone who has been laughed at, rejected, or ignored. It belongs to you. If you've ever wondered if your dream is too big or your path is too slow, Edison teaches us that success is not about being perfect. It's about continuing when everyone else stops. It's about believing in yourself when the world forgets you. It's about trying again. Not just once, but 1,000 times if that's what it takes. Maybe your idea hasn't worked yet. Maybe your plan failed. Maybe people don't understand what you're trying to build. That doesn't mean it's over. It might just mean you've found another way that won't work. And maybe, just like Edison, your next attempt will be the one that lights up everything.